What's up, you team of bad savages? 9 things Americans do that Brits don't. I'm really curious what is this because I have lived in England for 4 years, so I have a bit of knowledge about the English culture, you know. So yeah, let's jump in.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to the things we do as people. It turns out that there are just things that people in one country do that the people in the other country do not do. And today
No
we're going to take a
way.
look at 9 things that Americans do that Brits don't, and take that title with a grain of salt, okay? It's very much a generalization. Of course, many of the things on this list probably are practiced by some people, some pedants over in Britain. I said pedants, not peasants. But for the most
What means pedants? Anyway, idea?
part, on the whole, generally speaking, how many other ways can you say that? Americans do these things more than Brits. Now, if I'd have done this list maybe 12 years ago before I moved to the United States, there are some things I would have included that have since caught on in Britain. So, you know, baby showering or queuing up for the Black Friday sales or getting a coffee to go. So since there's more of a level playing field in regard to those things, I'm just going to leave them off the list. And given that we're all presently trapped in our bunkers, even the ones that did make it onto the list probably shouldn't temporarily, including this.
Man, Black Friday sales, highlights from Black Friday sales are savage. I need to watch compilation of carnage that happens in the stores when people are storming in when the doors open, man.
Smiling at strangers, which I suppose is what I'm doing to you right now, so I'm a hypocrite in a way. And you know what, I think when I first encountered this is when you're walking along, say, a footpath, or you're in a parkway, and someone you've never met, maybe they've got a dog, they just look at you and smile. It sounds creepy when I put it like that, and at first it was. I thought I was going to get mugged, right? British people value their personal space, right? Don't enter that zone. And so whenever that happened, it was a little off-putting. But I got used to it when I realised that Americans are just really friendly, and this is a good thing, right? And so I not only came to embrace this, but I started doing it myself. And you know, people got a bit creeped out by the British teeth. I can't help that. It's just something I'm born with, and so you're gonna have to accept it from now on. I must say that during this sort of weird situation we find ourselves in, if anybody smiled at me while I was going out to take the trash out, I'd run for the hills. We don't have hills in Chicago, so I'd be lost.
Listen, teeth in the Britain, the people, they have like terrible teeth. Like, I mean, one of a kind. If there would be competition, who has the worst teeth in the world, Britain would win it by a mile, I think.
Similarly, which is a word I had to say about 10 times before I got right, Americans might greet you not only with a smile, but by saying, "How are you?" or "What's up?" And these don't mean, you know, "Are you okay?" or anything like that. It just means hello, right? And it's, in a way, it's sort of similar to how we Brits say, "All right." And we're not asking if you're okay, we're simply saying hello. So in many ways there are similarities between the two. I don't really know why that is. Are we just trying to soften and euphemize the word hello in the same way that we would with death or going to the toilet? It's really odd when you think about
That's
it, but we
super
both
strange.
do it. Should I start my videos with, "All right, I'm Lawrence and I'm..."
Yeah, man, I'm telling you.
What I will do is go on to our next entry.
I can tell you one thing. First time when I was working in Britain, I encounter people who were asking me, "How are you?" And I was like, "You know, I'm tired today." And he's like, "I don't want to listen to that. You know, I just don't want to hear it." And then I was like surprised. I'm like, why he's asking how I am, and then he's like ignoring me. What's happening here? But then I got used to it. Yeah, and in the end, as he said, you know, like, "All right." All right, you just say hi. You don't say hi, you say all right, and the guy's like, all right, and that's it. This is how you say hi in Britain, basically.
Yes, flags. I did talk about this in a video just recently that, you know, American families and houses and things like that are very prone to having the flag flying outside. And I found that it really doesn't matter which party you vote for or anything like that. People will still fly the flags regardless of that, particularly on July the 4th, but you will see it at all times of year on numerous houses. And that's not to say that we don't fly the flag in Britain, but we usually reserve that for very special occasions like like
I love it.
football matches, which are very special occasions these days. There's just sort of maybe there's more pride in the flag here, or it
For
symbolizes so
sure.
much more, and therefore it gets used. And when I say it symbolizes so much more, I mean it really does. You've got the 50 stars representing each of the 50 states, and then you've got the 13 stripes representing each of the original 13 colonies. And so it's symbolic in many ways, and it's part of the lexicon even. You've got words like Old Glory, Stars and Stripes, and things like that. And so it's a very pervasive part of American culture.
Yeah, I love this that Americans are hanging out the flags all over the place. Even I, as a Latvian, I just feel a pride for you guys when I see American flag, on the streets, on the houses, on the cars. Man, I feel so proud for you. When I go down the street in Riga over here, I just see American flag. I'm like, let's go USA, let's go. So that's nice thing.
Ah, yes, date formats. Again, I've spoken about this before on the channel, but it's very much worthy of inclusion because when I first moved to the United States, it was very hard for me to get out of my head the British way of writing the date, which is to put the day first, the month second, and then the year. So it's sort of in order of unit, right? The smallest entity, the day, the second smallest, and then the third smallest, the year. Or is it to the largest? It's so hard to word that correctly without
Confusing.
confusing yourself. I'm not a mathematician, and that was evident in my early days of trying to get my head around the American date format. It's not hard. I mean, you obviously just switch the day and the month around, but it's that thing you've known all your life. You're having to unlearn what you'd already learned. And eventually, working in an office every day for 5 years, the American way of doing things really did sort of cement itself in my head, and I came good on that front. And I think now if I were to move back to Britain, it'd be the other problem, and I'd have a hard time adapting. And if I tell everybody that my birthday is 11/18/1981, they'll think I invented 6 more months, and will kick me out of the country again for forgery. That's not what that means. Falsehoods,
Man.
just general falsehoods. Oh, and while I'm on the subject of birthdays, that brings me on to our next entry. Tailgating was such an alien concept to me when I first moved to America.
What is
and
this?
in many ways it still is, and that's mainly because I don't own a truck or go to sports events, because that's what happens. When I talk about tailgating, I'm not just talking about, when you drive too closely behind another car. I'm talking about that kind of thing that Americans do at sports events outside of sports stadiums or anywhere else where they can park it, and they just casually light a barbecue and drink beer. And I mean, they look fun. It's just I've never been invited to one, so pity me, come on, feel sorry for me. It's never happened. The best you're going to get outside of sports stadiums in Britain is people selling pirated DVDs. I've just
Or hot dogs, or like some kind of other fast food.
realised actually those pirate DVD sellers they're probably struggling right now because A, there's a pandemic on, and B, no one uses DVDs anymore.
Exactly.
Actually, I suppose nobody is doing our next entry, including me, so I'm going to leave this to Lawrence from Christmas to explain.
Listen, Americans are free people, and if they want to make a barbecue right at their car in the parking zone, they do it. And there's nobody that can stop them, that's for sure.
Anybody that's followed my channel now for a while will know that I have feelings on free refills. In fact, I did an entire video about it.
I love free refills,
while they
man.
are all the rage here, and of course you'll find them in most fast food outlets and other places, there is one clarification I have to make here. You will find free refills as an option in places like Subway in the United Kingdom. So in some capacity, America has exported it, but it is by no means as universal in the United Kingdom as it is in the United States. And as I've said before, I think the temptation of knowing that I could get a free cup of pop on top of the one that I've already had is what made me give up pop in the first place. So I do have that to thank America for. Of course, if you are American and you have the willpower to stay away from the free refills,
It's hard.
more power to you.
It's hard, like when, especially if you're a greedy person, you drink one and then you think, okay, I'm gonna go and make another one, and then another one, and then you become a beast, then you gain 20 kilos per day. Man, it's so hard to control yourself when you have free refills, I'm telling you.
Free refills or not, Americans do like their water to be very cold, and I'm not talking about their bath water. Can you imagine having an ice bath?
Water.
Do they? That is weird. But they put lots of ice in their water occasionally, and you'll find this happening in restaurants, but people will do it in the comfort of their own homes too. And this was somewhat of an alien concept to me before I moved to the US. I think maybe it's because we live in a mildish climate in Britain. We don't feel the need to do that. And the water in Britain tends to come out of the tap quite cold anyway, so that usually suffices. But actually, I have come...
And humidity in the air is very high in Britain also, and you feel that it's like dry, like wet all the time, or because it's raining also. So and it's an island, and the wind is blowing all the time, so it's crazy there.
To appreciate this one, because during the summertime in Chicago, or previously where I lived in Indiana, it gets very, very hot. Sometimes it can get over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you go out for a run in that weather, and that's not me, I don't run, but if you do, you're going to perspire like crazy, right? So not only do you need just water in general, it is nice to have it with ice in it, because it cools you down. Like it's ice cold, and you're catching your breath because it's going so dry from all the heat. They'll even buy bags of ice here in America. You can actually buy bags of ice from the store, and I still don't know why people do that. I know because you have ice trays and you put them in the freezer. Am I missing something?
So that you can have ice.
It's for the lazy people. It's for the lazy people who don't use ice trays and who don't want to refill those ice trays and put them in the fridge because it's hard. They go and buy the bags, my friend. And also for events, let's say.
It's for a party.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
tailgating party, or just generally a party.
Any party.
Any party in the summer.
Or winter.
Who has ice in the winter? I mean, in their drink.
Floridians?
That's true. Is it even winter in Florida, though, when it's winter here?
Yes, but no.
Not the same. This one seemed really
Pajamas?
strange for the first few months of living in America. People going out to the store in their pajamas and sweatpants and things like that.
No way, man.
It's as if they don't care about what they look like while, traversing Walmart, which I can understand. It's not really something you'd find back in Britain. I'm not saying we dress our Sunday best to go shopping, but we at least make an effort, put on jeans and a t-shirt, You will see people going out in their gym jams, their jammies, PJs, right? And I'm not exempt from that, especially right now. I mean, I don't care I want people to avoid me. So, of course, I go out in my pajamas or anything. I went out in this the other day. These aren't my pajamas. That's just me looking like a Sith Lord, a dime store Sith Lord.
He looks like a ninja, basically, in this mask.
But nonetheless, a Sith Lord. And I suppose in many ways it speaks to that American tendency toward comfort. But this is not just a pandemic era thing. I mean, people have been doing this for centuries, probably.
Pajamas?
Yeah.
I feel like that started in the 90s.
So there weren't people going in the 19th century going out with their sort of sleeping cap on and things like that to their local blacksmiths or whatever. That's it. Thank you for watching this episode of Lost in the Pond. Don't forget to follow me right here on YouTube so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. What are you laughing at? I know it looked like a crotch chop. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, so if you liked what you saw here, follow me on Twitter at